Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Barry White. With me today, I've got my co-host, Han Solo, although he just took off his vest, better known as Danny. It got hot. Oh, man.
It got hot.
We couldn't be Chewie and Han Solo today, so unfortunately, we just get to be Barry White and that guy.
Yep. The drummer.
Anyway, the drummer. Are you the
Sit
well?
back there
At least
being
you're
cool.
not the. Hey, at least you're not the drummer from Def Leppard. Remember, he only had one arm.
Right. Well, if it helps, I only have one hand technically today because I slammed my hand. Oh, I didn't slam it, but my hand got slammed in the entry door to our garage yesterday. So this thing aches, and I'm like, how old am I? Well, evidently very old.
So you beat yourself up, and then your son gets slammed into walls too. Like,
Yeah, man. I swear it was somebody else. Sorry, officer. It was somebody else that did it. Yeah, we have I added a spring hinge on our garage entry door to go from like the laundry room into the garage. It's a big metal door, but it wouldn't close. The kids were never closing it. So I just tightened, put a spring in there and tightened it up. And it's made for that. So it just swings the door closed, right? And it helped a bunch because it was constantly just slightly open. The cat would get out or cold air would get in, whatever. And I am running around last night trying to get things ready. I had people coming over to play Dungeons and Dragons, in fact. And I'm going out in the garage, and I'd push the door completely open because I was carrying, of course, a laundry basket because that's my thing now, I guess. And I go out into the garage with it, and I just reach back to pull the door closed, but it wasn't there yet. It was still, coming, and I was going to try to slow it down and so it wouldn't slam. Well, I missed. I was early, and it slammed. And I thought it broke my finger because, it bruised up like instantly and went a little numb. And I'm like, well, that's great. That's a break. Fantastic. Hit my index finger and my knuckle and just swelled them all up. It was great. But it's actually not broken, so that's cool. But yeah, so I started it, or I ended it, I guess, because my 12-year-old last week, they were at the gym. They were actually at Scouts, and we were just letting them basically run off some steam. They were, just throwing the ball around and playing, and they just started roughhousing, and you just let them play, right? It's like with any environment, and very safe. It's a very safe place, but sometimes kids get hurt,
Oh yeah, of course.
One of the other kids this kid's kind of rough. He's got older brothers and he's used to throwing people around, people throwing him, and he slammed Marcus into the wall and sprained his shoulder. And it's been a week. And I thought, or yesterday it was a week. And I'm like, or Monday was a week. It might be broken because it was still hurting and it swelled a little bit. And I'm like, okay, well, just go get an x-ray because your clavicle, you break your collarbone instantly sometimes. Not broken. Everything was cool. Kept him home Monday just to make sure because he was in a lot of pain. Went to Scouts on Monday night again. We had an amazing camp out all weekend. So we were talking about that. We had a great time. And again, at the end, we were just kind of blowing off some steam, letting them play some games. We were playing basketball, a little soccer, and yada, yada. And I told Marcus, you can't play soccer. Don't stand over here. People are kicking balls at you. You're not a goalie. You're a post, and you're a broken post. So get over here. And he was standing out of the way, and he was still having fun running around. And the teenagers were playing basketball. And these kids are 5'10", 5'11", they're tall, they're teenagers. And one of them just wasn't looking, and Marcus was kind of too close and just got plowed into. And man, he's on the ground, right? His forehead pressed to the gym floor.
Oh my
and he's
goodness.
making this wailing sound because he was in so much pain. And it broke my heart. I'm like, oh my God, my boy. And the coolest thing, Brock, and you'll get this, I think, because you have a compassionate family and you're raising compassionate children. You yourself are a compassionate person. We get in the truck and I'm taking him home and we're driving along and he says, this hurts a lot, Dad. I'm like, yeah, I know, buddy. It might be you might have broken it this time. We might have to go back to the doctor. We'll have to wait and see. And he goes, it really hurts, but I don't blame that kid. And he said his name, and I'm not going to say his name. He said, I don't blame that kid. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, it just happened. It was an accident and he didn't see me. And yeah, I know he didn't do it on purpose, and I know he'd never hurt me. And I'm like, my boy, you're breaking my heart right now. You are so sweet. I don't know where you got that, but oh my God. It really, to me, boiled down what his scouting experience has been. I wasn't a scout. My parents never would have allowed me to be a scout. It was just again, I was raised in a cult, so wouldn't have happened. But the camaraderie that he has and the friendships that he's built, and he's looking at these kids, and I say kids, but to him, they're 10 years older, not maybe not 10, maybe like 4 or 6 years older. And they're the patrol leaders, and they're the kids that my kid is looking at to learn how to walk and talk, and in this way, at least. And it was just so cool because he's right. That kid would never hurt him. It would not happen. This kid is a great leader. He does a lot of just amazing things with the other kids. And I've seen him while they're playing tell his friends, no, don't do that. We've got the little kids with us. Or no, we can't play like that. The rules actually say this. And standing up to your friends, and we've probably all seen Harry Potter. We know how many points that gets you. And to stand up to his friends like that is just so mature. And then for Marcus to be so compassionate, man, I hate that he's hurt. And I really hope his collarbone isn't broken this time. But the fact that he's got that,
Yeah.
and that he's building this friend group with kids that he'll know the rest of his life, probably. These kids are going for their Eagle Scout, and that's a huge accomplishment. And Marcus is going to follow right along with him, I think. And I love it, even though he's hurt.
I think that that falls in line a lot with last week's episode where we were talking about just like, teaching our kids skills and that kind of thing. And, alongside of that is, having the right reaction to situations, because in a lot of situations that, people would be angry and upset about that, and like you were saying, like he's the one that's telling you, hey, like, I'm not mad at this person, almost in a way of like, hey, don't be mad at this kid, like, you don't know them the way I know them,
right?
And, like, I know that was not malice or in any kind of way like meant to actually harm me. It was just a situation where wrong place, wrong time type of deal. And I think that there's so many instances that you see captured these days in on video with our phones and stuff where parents are like going off the handle on other kids for things that happened. And it's just one of those things where it's like before there is any evaluation to what truly happened, like you see parents just snap and go off on kids, and you're like, for one, it's like you completely just like forgot that this was a child that did something, and like their reactions for things are going to be completely different. And so that's awesome, man, because that just shows you're raising good kids that understand it and can evaluate the situations, and even at the same time kind of be a bit of a guiding or guidance towards somebody older who they're like, I see this person's an authoritarian figure. They're probably thinking, maybe negative thoughts about the situation, and there's really not a negative thought to have in it, because like it was a situation that just was happenstance due to all these different circumstances. It was never meant as a planned attack kind of deal.
Right. And it wasn't even really like negligence or anything. It was just, two people running around in a gym and they collided,
Right.
The person that's really at fault, and I don't feel guilt, so this is just kind of tongue in cheek, but the person that's really at fault is that kid's dad that let that injured kid out there and play with the other kids.
Oh,
but it really is, because I'm looking at him going, I'm like, I should pull him out of there. I should just make him sit out and just watch. And he was having so much fun, Brock. He was just like, oh yeah, I'm running around with kids and laughing and smiling and chasing and doing all those kid things. And I couldn't. I'm like, nah, he's loving this. How could I take that away from him? Oops. Evidently, you moron. You should have at least, I don't
Oh,
know.
you're okay. No, you
Yeah,
know what?
it happens.
It happens exactly. So, well, I'm glad he is gonna be okay. Like it's not anything
Yeah,
that's
he should be.
super
Well,
serious. So,
should be. I mean, it's possible he broke his clavicle now, but I really doubt it. He did stay home yesterday, and that was fine. And he got up this morning and he's sitting there, Dad, can I stay home? I'm like, I know you're tired and I know you're hurting, but you stayed home yesterday and had a fantastic day, giggling and laughing at stuff on the TV, playing Minecraft Dungeons on the Xbox, and just had an amazing day. And you didn't seem to be hurting too much, so let's just go ahead and go. Of
yeah,
course, as always, if he needs me, if it's too much and he needs me to come pick him up, that's what I'm here for. I will
right.
absolutely have no problem with that. But it's a great moment to, as long as it's not broken, if it's just a sprain, it's a great moment to move through that pain and that discomfort and be like, okay, this is how I have to operate. I still have to do this thing, even if I'm uncomfortable, even if I'm hurting. Now, if it turns out that it's actually broken, that was a I can't say that word. It was a jerk move. It was a jerk move, Danny, and you should have kept your kid home and taken him over to the hospital and got him set. But as long as it's not broken, I'm doing the right thing. So
Hey,
we'll find out.
ice it, and hopefully it's just
Yeah.
a deep bone bruise type of deal. So
Yeah.
I hear that. So on a different note that has to do with kids. So my oldest, he's like loves to write little short stories and things.
Awesome.
And they announced, I think it was like at the beginning of the school year, that they were going to be submitting a written short story in a contest. I think they've done things differently in the past or whatever. So, because it sounded like they were kind of changing up how they were doing stuff, but all the upper school kids were going to basically be doing this project. And whoever got, like, there were certain things, parameters, I don't know the whole instance of it, but they were going to pick certain kids' writings and they were going to get to be published in the young authors, like, newsletter or something that they have that goes out.
Hmm.
What I also didn't realize was this isn't the teachers at the school who were picking this. This was
Oh,
actually submitted to the young authors. So, like, the editors for that were the ones who actually were reading these submissions and then
cool.
deciding, because we got like an email yesterday from the editor talking about how, like, his short story was chosen for this upcoming, like,
All right.
newsletter. Yeah. So it was just funny though, because, like, he and I were not seeing eye to eye on a couple of things yesterday in the afternoon. Surprise, surprise. Uh, and him and homework are a fickle beast at
Hmm.
each other.
Hmm.
Um, and so we were having it out about that, and then he got sent to his room to do something else because he decided to just completely not do the homework that he was working on. Thought that he could get away with just playing games on the iPad when he was supposed to be doing research for his homework. And so I sent him up there. He was really angry, and then I get a text message from Corey that's like, "Hey, like, look at this. Have you seen this?" And I was like, "No." And I pulled it up and look at it. I'm like, "Oh wow." So I went up and it was kind of nice. It was a good transition because, like, we've gone over this whole homework thing time and time again. So it was like I was gonna have to come up with some way to sort of like turn the page so that we could continue on with the day.
Hmm.
And I was just like, "Hey man, like, you know that assignment that you were doing," and like went through all this stuff. And I was like, your writing is gonna get published. And he was so ecstatic about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I just thought it was really cool. And it's not like he reaches out to do that kind of stuff, you know. Like, I'm
Hmm.
sure he was just like, "I'm gonna write this and whatever," you know. Like,
Right. Yeah. I'm
not
just
looking to
throwing it
get
out there.
accolades.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was super pumped for him. Corey was too, and so that was an exciting thing that happened for him. But yeah, it's just interesting. It was like, on the bad side, he was literally like in a disciplinary situation, and it was like, go up and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, here's some good news," type of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. And and that's a part of it, I think, of parenting your kids, and even no matter how young they are, is understanding that you're going to have that friction and you're going to have that joy, you
Right.
know. And especially when it comes to schoolwork, because schoolwork has changed so much since, especially since I was, going to school, and since you were going to school too. Like my kids rarely have homework until they get up into their senior high, you know. And most of that just comes from you need to study, like James is in a couple of AP courses and you need to study for those. Sorry, that's not going to just come easy. You've got to put
Oh
some
yeah.
work in.
Yep.
But other than that, they rarely have more homework than, go read a book with your mom and dad or something like that. Pretty easy stuff. So they get their work done in school, and it bugs the crap out of me. It bothers me so much. And every day I tell myself, no, this is the teacher's job, not mine. They know what they're doing. I don't have a degree in anything, especially not teaching, but you need to do your homework. I don't have any. Well, I'm going to give you some because I need you to have it. And the same thing with James, smart kid, love him. And he's gaming the system. He has work that he has not finished, and it's missing assignments, and it drives me crazy, drives his mom crazy. And he looks at me and he said, Dad, that doesn't count as a percentage of my work large enough to change my grade. As
Oh,
long
he's
as
one of
I
those
get my
calculated
assessments,
guys.
yes, as long as I get my assessments done and I get this score, I will maintain an A in that class. And I'm like, you're not wrong, but you need to learn how to do busy work. I mean, you and I are doing busy work every week. You have to learn to push yourself through that busy work, which really it's just garbage that needs to get done. It doesn't have any value. It's not going to educate you. It's maybe stuff you already know. I get it. You got to do it anyway. It's a
He's
good
not
habit.
only he's not only gaming the system, but he's also like basically figured out the loopholes and things
Yeah.
to like, be like and also too like in a discussion where he knows that you guys are gonna come to him with like, well, you gotta do this for this and this, and he's like, but isn't the whole thing you want me to just like get good grades and I've figured out how to do that and like
Yep, with
and
the least amount of effort.
cut out all the fat that's in there and just go straight to like the lean part of the meat.
Yeah.
Like what
I
what's
got
the
the grade.
problem?
What do you want?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's got it, and he's not wrong. And I wish he was, because then I could tell him to stop. But then I don't think we mentioned this, but we did go away this weekend. Marcus and I went to Scouts. We went camping in cabins with like a wood burning stove, so it wasn't actually camping. It was more like staying in a cabin. But so we were gone Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday. And while I was gone, James made bread twice and made it again on Sunday after I got home. He made chicken tacos for Marnie and his little sister. And when I got home on Saturday, he had already made a pizza, like a frozen pizza, but still, and had that ready because he knew we'd be hungry when we got home. And
Nice.
he said, even if you weren't hungry, I would eat it. I'm like, of course you would, you big goober. But I'm like, okay, kid, you make me so mad, but you make me so proud. And I think that's right back to where Hezekiah was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to play on my tablet. You need to do this better. Oh crap. You just won an award for writing. Dang it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So is this
Uh,
something that's going to be published, or to just be online, or what?
I don't know exactly where it's going to be published. It's some sort of, it seemed like it was some sort of like maybe like a quarterly newsletter or something that they
Okay.
put out where they publish things. I'll definitely, make a post of it when it comes out or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And
So,
link it in the show
'cause
notes too, if you can. So,
I will. Well, it'll be later probably when that happens. So we might have to
okay.
talk about it later
Yeah.
when that actually gets published. Because right now we're at the like, hey, can we have permission for
Yeah.
all
So
this
about
stuff? So
probably a
we've
couple
got to get
months.
that. Yeah, it might be a little while. So, but that's kind
Well,
of the spot that we're at.
tell him to start working on his signature, because I'm gonna print one out and mail him a copy of it and ask him to sign it and mail it back to me, or you can bring it back to me at the convention or something. But it was 'cause
Surprisingly enough, though, he actually he's got quite good penmanship when it comes to a signature.
That-
Which because they actually teach cursive at
Mhm.
his private school. So, yeah, he actually has a pretty good signature, which I've been surprised to see.
that's great. That's awesome. He'll be a Renaissance man when he gets older because so few people. My kids can't read cursive. My younger kids, my
Yeah.
10 and 12, they can't read cursive. And it was hilarious because they got a birthday card. Like Marcus had a birthday in January. Like all of us did, all of us cool people, and it was in cursive. And he goes, "Dad, I can't read this. What does this say?" I'm like, "You can't read that. What?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's like scribbly." I'm like, "Oh man, I failed you, my son. I failed you. I haven't even taught you to read it, much less write it."
I forgot what exactly this was, but I remember seeing some sort of like news story about where there was some group that hired people. They were hiring older people to read transcripts from back in like maybe like the late 1800s or early 1800s because it was all in cursive. And
Yes, that's
and the
awesome.
people who were on the research team could not read it at all. And so like they were having to transcribe it for them so
Yes.
they actually knew what it was.
Man, I'm gonna get an old man t-shirt that says I can read cursive and drive a stick shift.
If you can read this, you're over the age of 40.
You're over 40.
And 40 is actually written out. Like that's the other
Yes.
part too.
Yes.
Like the whole
Yes.
thing is just that. And there's someone like what,
Cursive.
someone scribbled all over your
Yeah.
shirt.
What's wrong with your shirt, Dad? Yeah. You're ignorant. That's what's wrong with my shirt.
Oh, hey, you know how I've mentioned that my mom and dad have all those t-shirts and stuff?
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna make a quilt or something.
Well, no, they were just like donating them or something. I don't know. But I got two text messages over the past week from my parents. One was from my dad, and he sent me like, "Hey, we're cleaning out more of the t-shirts or whatever." I'm like, "Oh, great." So then, like a few days later, I got a picture of two like 13-gallon drawstring trash bags full. I mean, we're talking like bulging full.
Wow.
And it said, "We cleaned out uh enough t-shirts that I have 100 extra hangers with nothing on them now." And
Wow.
I'm just like, yeah, congratulations. And at the same time,
Right.
I'm
Good for you.
horrified of that whole
Yes.
scenario.
Yes. How did we get here, Dad? There's something wrong.
Yeah. But I was just like, well, hey, they're at least they're going for it. So we're
Mhm.
we're moving that train down the track ever so slowly. But I was just like, 100 hangers. Holy crap,
Yeah.
that's a lot of clothes.
Yeah. And the fact that you hung up 100 t-shirts as opposed to folding them up and put them in a drawer like I do. I don't hang my t-shirts.
Yeah, well, it's probably polo shirts and things like that too that have just
Oh yeah.
been
All right.
sitting as well. So he has quite the collection. So
Or had.
or had, yeah, exactly. Had, that's the correct word right there. So
Good for you, Brock's dad. Good for you. And I have to say, because I have way too many t-shirts, and I've actually lost enough weight where I'm down into like a 1X, and I can wear a lot of the old shirts that I put them in storage because they're a memento. It's a souvenir. Certain time in my life where like the kids went to their first field day or whatever it is. It's just like special little shirts. And of course, every year we get one from the convention, and I usually get two and yada yada. And I have 3 drawers full and then 2 stacks on top of my dresser of t-shirts.
Hmm.
And I looked at Marnie. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get rid of this. I'm gonna have to clean out some of these. And she's like,
Yep.
she's very supportive. And she said, if you want to, you can just put them in like a plastic tub and put them in the attic or something. And, because again, this is like I have the first Atlanta United jersey that we got for Lizzie when she was 4, I think.
Oh
Right.
wow.
And it is like this big and it is cute. And it says Atlanta United on it. It's got all the proper logos and everything. And I can't get rid of that. I mean, it doesn't have her name on it or anything, but still, like this is the little baby soccer jersey. Come on. Marnie didn't fight me on that one at all. She's like, yeah, we need to keep that because she loves soccer. But looking at it, I'm like, that's something I've always done is I've gone to a place or gone to a thing and I got the t-shirt
Hmm.
because it's just like this is the thing because I don't want coffee cups. Holy crap. Can you
Oh my
imagine
gosh.
having 100 coffee cups? I mean, just like in all souvenirs.
I've been to people's houses like that where it's just like coffee cup collection, and you're like, well, you have a curio cabinet full of coffee cups. Wow, that's amazing.
Right. Right. Which ones do you use? But you know, which t-shirts do I wear? I can't. I'm not going to judge. I shouldn't judge. I am judging, but I shouldn't judge. Definitely judging if you have 100 coffee cups. I'm letting you know. Something going on.
Especially if and if you're not using them as well. Like they're
Yeah.
just
Just
trinkets hanging.
let's take it up. Get a thimble. Let's get a thimble or a shot glass.
Oh
That's
my
where
gosh, my aunt is a shot glass collector.
yeah.
Holy cow. I was over at her house for Thanksgiving, and she could equip a few bars with shot glass
Nice.
easily.
Nice.
So I was like, I was telling my cousin, I'm like, y'all are gonna have a whole bunch of fun when they're gone, and you
Mhm.
got all these shot glasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a whole nother thing as well. But with the t-shirts though, kind of a nice little like segue into that.
Hmm.
There's been an announcement that came out that the organization is starting to take submissions for designs for this year's Home Dad Con shirt, which the last time that was done in that format was Arizona, and Quetzal Torres won, and his drawing literally was like a napkin drawing. Like he just kind of put something together, like penciled it out and submitted it, and like JHG and all of his wizardry came in and like turned it into what that shirt is, what that shirt was.
Hmm.
So I'm very excited to see what comes out of this. My reason for bringing that up though is the fact that I think a lot of times members see us ask questions like that and they think that it needs to look like some professional thing, and it's like, no, like you could tell your kid like, hey, here's your assignment for today, you've got these elements for this,
Hmm.
turn it into something and see what it ends up being, and you could submit that. Like that
Hmm.
totally is
Yeah.
one way to go about it.
Yeah. And I will say too, you know, it has been a while since we've kind of done it, but we always do that type of thing. We always ask,
Oh yeah.
you know, who, because we need that, you know, we're not designing it. We need, you know, suggestions and what have you. But Cincinnati, as an example, we just had a great design. What else could we have done? You know, I mean, the Cincinnati Dads, it was perfect. It's a great shirt. Milwaukee, I am sorry, that's my favorite. That's my favorite dad t-shirt to this day. It just looks great, and it's got the, you know, the PBR logo and everything, and
Yeah.
it's just like chef's kiss, you know. But yeah, we're definitely looking for one for San Antonio. Expecting a lot of cowboy hats. That's, you know, that's a thing. But yeah, anything you think you might want, just submit it. If you have, yeah, you know, I drew a cowboy on a horse with a little kid, and he's got his own pony, and here we go. Sure, draw it and as close as you can, and then let us have it, and like describe your idea, what you think it is. Submit that, you know. And I really want to push that this year, because we've had, and with last year, people felt like they didn't get to offer their suggestions.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
are absolutely open and ready, and please bring it to us. And we want to make sure people understand that, because only, well, I think it's only JHG right now is actually a designer. Everybody else in the planning committee, what have you, is just people like me that are like, I can framework a speaker schedule, but I don't know how to draw. I don't have any graphic ideas. I can't think of a
Right.
graphic. You think, because everybody every year is like, ah, you know, we're going to Cincinnati. Well, of course, you know what that makes you think of. And I'm like, no, that didn't make me think of anything. I'm an uneducated masses. No, Cincinnati makes me think of Ohio, because it's in Ohio, you know, and that's it. And I don't have any picture in my head that would frame these things. So we're absolutely, and I'm glad you brought it up, absolutely looking for submissions, and we've posted it everywhere.
There are some dads I know in the, that are connected with the organization that have some amazing
Yeah,
drawing abilities,
I,
and yeah.
I've got a painting upstairs that one of our members, I sent him a picture of the driveway of our old house. And, you know, it's basically just the woods and the driveway. And he painted that.
Wow.
And, you know, of course I paid him for that. That wasn't something he did for free, but he's an artist. And I'm like, man, I I couldn't trace this picture as well as you just painted it freehand. So there's some very, very talented
Yeah.
dads in our membership, and bring it
I
on,
would
guys.
I would love to see what like Kiba Freeman could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that
My man.
his designs would be a really cool just
Excuse me.
the way he uses paint and things like that. Like
Mhm.
that could be very interesting. So a challenge to him. Uh there's
It's time.
the Matthew Phillips, I think, is another one. He's got
Mattingly?
Mattingly, that's what it is, yeah. And he does some amazing like
Skills.
skill, like his pencil work, the things that he draws up. Like he actually drew up some things that so him and his kid could like do watercolor painting. And it was like a fire truck and firemen and all this. Like it was really cute. They look like the little people, like from like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
little
little tykes.
yeah, little tykes or whatever. And I just thought that was so neat. And so it's like you could that is another thing because I think back to Orlando and Minneapolis where like not only was it just like related upon like where we were at, but like it also involved kids, like because it was like Orlando was the Oranges,
Mhm.
and then in Minneapolis it was Paul Bunyan, and
Yeah.
that one's probably my
Baby and a
favorite.
carrier.
That by far is probably one of my favorite designs because
Mhm.
one, like I remember being a part of like that design as far as like trying to get things figured out because we ended up going to like somebody from like was it Pfeiffer or something like that or whatever that like online where we sent it out to somebody. I think somebody from like overseas actually who didn't even know who Paul Bunyan was part of that design and coming up with different things for that.
Cool.
And it was really interesting. And of course, like I think the one thing that's really neat about that design too is the fact that you've got like a Paul Bunyan dad figure, you've got a little kid, and the little kid is holding onto a stuffed Babe the Blue Ox.
Mm-hmm.
Like such a great little like Easter egg of
Yeah.
a thing in the photo in that picture or whatever. But that's the kind of fun with it. And that's, those are the kind of things that I would hope would maybe inspire some of the other guys to be like, well, I can pull something like that together.
Mhm.
So hopefully talking about it on here will help kind of spur that along as well. Cause I would love to see, one of our guys, who has those amazing talents be able to put something together because the
Mhm.
nice part is too is that along with like a hand drawing and that kind of deal is that JHG is an amazing graphic designer who can take
Truly.
that idea and like bring it to full fruition for being able to be put on a t-shirt. And
Mm-hmm.
so just kind of the combined efforts, I think it'll be exciting to see what comes out of it.
I'm hoping it is a fantastic design. I hope it's going to be one of my favorites because I think San Antonio is going to be a great convention. We've
I'm looking
got
forward to it. Yeah.
amazing stuff coming in, and I get a full week.
I do too, actually.
I get
this
from
year.
Monday to Monday.
Oh, I don't get that. That's long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a demand.
No, yeah.
I told Marnie, I'm like, no, I'm getting a week. This is not. I shouldn't do it in San Antonio because it's hot and I'm not going to enjoy it as much. But yeah, I told her I'm actually making some money now. So I told her any amount that I get from this is going just to hotel rooms. Whatever you need, every cent I'm just going to give it to you, and that's where we put it because I want a full week. I just need more time away. I need to get back to myself and just
Yeah.
too much dadding for the last 15 years. So
That's a good
Anyway.
thing, man. Yeah, no. That's
self-care,
awesome.
baby. Self-care.
Definitely. That's awesome, dude. I didn't realize that you were trickling in some funds too, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Oh.
actually getting paid to facilitate support groups and stuff like that.
Oh.
So yeah,
Sweet.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. What can I say? I'm a pro. No, that's not. It's not at all has happened. But yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
cool, man.
finally making $1.
Yeah, San Antonio is coming around. It's going to be here sooner than, I
Mhm.
think many people expect. So
A little earlier this year. So
it is a little earlier. Also, too, like speaking of things a little earlier, scholarship is the other thing too. So
mhm.
and we've already started to get some submissions for that. There's a few that came in late last year, and typically we reach out to those people to be like, hey, like it's passed, but we can put you on for next year type of deal. So there is some rollover from that as well. But we're definitely looking for, more guys to sign up for that, because we want to make sure we can get as many folks there as possible. So hopefully people take advantage of that, because it's a good little program. It works out well. So
Yep. And honestly, once you go, change your life. You'll be doing it from then on. You'll be like, no, I got to go to this every year. It's really amazing.
No, definitely. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got for this show. And my voice is about to give out anyway. So we will talk to you all next week. Hope you have a great one. And until then,
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.